Welcome back to Calendar Movie Reviews. And the next movie that I recommend that you watch is called Alice. And that's also on Amazon Prime. You can rent it or buy it. I don't know if it's still in Redbox. I haven't looked in Redbox in a long time. But anyways, I think it's a must see. It's not a whole bunch of trauma porn. I think it's a very important story, and this story is about a young woman who lives in rural Georgia who is being treated cruelly by her slave owner, and she's a slave in the 1970s. And I think this movie is so important because a lot of people, even the media, try to portray that this stuff, not stuff, but slavery was so long ago. Like, oh, it was so long ago. Those were a long time ago. And they do that by showing pictures of black and white photos so you could think it's so outdated. But honestly, like, people are still picking cotton. For some parts, slavery didn't end. It was still slaves in the 70s, like in this movie, and the 80s. And I will leave the link of another Vice documentary that talked about it. But my father, he told me he's from Mississippi, where he picked cotton as a teenager, 16 years old, in Mississippi. And he was like, they were still doing it in the 90s. So that wasn't long ago. And it's another young lady on TikTok who's exposing somebody she knows who boasted about having slaves, I believe, in the 90s. So she's doing an investigation and putting him on blast. But yeah, this is something to talk about because we think this is so long ago, but this is based in a true story. So I will leave links below if you want to check them out. But this movie stars Keke Palmer. I think she did a great job. I love to see just see her flourish and grow in a different role she's playing, and she's not afraid to play different roles. Like, she was in Hustler. I just saw Hustler and I thought it was a really good movie. And Keke was in it, so I love to see her. But she stars in this movie with my boy Common, and it wasn't a lot of trauma porn. I know this movie wasn't pushed out because a lot of people are over it. I mean, me too, but it wasn't. It has some scenes that's very hard to watch, but this movie is more empowering. I feel like this movie is more about a woman who, she learned herself and who she is. And she was a brave woman who escaped her captor. She planned and escaped to find out, like, there's something out there. There's something more than this life. And she, got out and ended up meeting by fate Common, who took her in and to help her and gave her, just wanted to help her and gave her different books and just showed her what is the outside world and who she was as a black woman. And I love the scene when he gave her books and he was just like, this is who you are. He showed her different black icons like Diana Ross. They even showed the Black Panthers and talking about hair. Angela Davis, all the feminist icons of the 70s. Even Pam Grier. He took her to the movies to go see a Pam Grier, just to give her that confidence, to show her, like, you're not some servant, some slave that and she even read that she wasn't a slave, that, we were, the Emancipation Proclamation said that, we're not supposed to be enslaved. And she just bust out crying because she was just so happy, because she's like, I'm free, So I love that scene where she's just reading, she's studying, learning her rights, learning her history. She even cut her hair into an afro, becoming proud of who she is. And even in one part, I love when she confronted the mistress. And that's the thing, like, they lived, it was so weird, but it was similar to Antebellum, similar just because it was modern times, but they were living back in the antebellum area. Like, I guess the mistress and the husband divorced, so she was living in the 70s and he was in antebellum. His son, they had visitation, so his son would come visit and change his clothes, and you could tell like he wasn't used to this time. But in the outside, he had his, you know, he was bored when he to visit his father because he didn't have his Game Boy and all that modern technology stuff. It was a Game Boy, but he had some type of toy that he liked to play with. Anyways, it was just funny when she confronted the mistress and how she was just like, you treated us badly. And then the mistress mind is like gaslighting her, like, I treated you good, Alice. And she was just confronting her like they was getting ready to fight, and she was getting ready to beat her up. And Common was there and had to, because he didn't really know who she was. They thought she was mentally unwell. She was about to get a lobotomy at the medical clinic because they was like, she's crazy. Like, she didn't know her name. She didn't know her birthday. She didn't know who she was. She just knew her name was Alice. But yeah, and it was just funny how the lady was like, well, that's just how the way things are. Like, you're born this way. And she didn't really see a problem with treating them that way. You know, the abuse, the R word. I'm not monetized yet, but you know, that word. And it's still that to this day. The entitlement, the gaslighting is not that bad. And it's just, some people really think like we're privileged, we're higher than you just because of skin tone. I think it's sick. It's a mental illness, honestly. But anyways, I think this movie is worth the watch. I think it's very empowering. It's not too much trauma porn. It's not. It's very empowering how one person, she was just like, one person could really change things. And she went back and saved her family. She had a plan and even helped Common because he was going through grief with the passing of his mom, not really feeling having no purpose in life. But I think this is a must see. I know a lot of people haven't been talking about, but it's not a whole bunch of stuff to make you cry or make you angry. I mean, it does make some scenes make you upset, but it's really about just learning who you are and the power you possess, and that you can truly change things. And you know, study, read, and learn your history, because that's where your power lies. So watch it, and I'm done with this review. So go check it out on Amazon Prime. Bye.